Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Recon Appliance Installation Guide. With the release of Enterprise Recon 2.9.1, customers have the flexibility to choose a deployment method that perfectly aligns with their organizational needs. The latest version supports two primary installation options: deployment as an appliance on the Oracle Linux 8 operating system, and installation as an RPM software package on servers running Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8.6 and 8.8. In this tutorial, we'll guide you through the process of installing a new Enterprise Recon appliance, and we will also cover the steps for migrating your data from an existing Enterprise Recon instance to the latest appliance deployment. Let's get started. First, we will log into existing installation of Enterprise Recon as a root user. We will start by running the backup script with specifying the temporary location for the backup file. We need to wait for the backup process to complete. You can check if the process is still running by running the top command and observing if the data store job is running. Once the backup process is complete, we will copy the backup file to a shared location. It is important that this shared location is also accessible from a new appliance instance that we will create. We will also copy the data store configuration file to the shared location. Take down the hostname and IP address of the current master server. These steps are important if we wish to avoid having to reconfigure all node agents with the updated data from the new master server. Optionally, you might want to note some other networking details in order to easily replicate in the new instance. This is everything we need to do on the existing instance. We can stop the master server and power off the host machine. To download Enterprise Recon Appliance Installer, log into Services portal at services.groundlabs.com. Navigate to Downloads, Enterprise Recon 2, Appliance, and download the ISO file. For installing on bare metal machine, you can either load the downloaded ISO image on bootable media such as USB stick or DVD, or make it accessible for mounting as boot image in your virtual machine. In this video, we will be installing Enterprise Recon on virtual machine. In your virtualization software, navigate to Create New Virtual Machine. Assign it a name and select 64-bit Linux as OS version. Next, we will confirm our data storage drive and define the system resources for the virtual machine. Please refer to the section in Enterprise Recon User Guide for system requirements suggested for the size of your infrastructure. Next, we are going to select the ISO file we downloaded from Services portal as a boot image for our virtual machine. Once we verify all the details, we are ready to start up the machine. Note that the workflow for creating virtual machine will depend on your virtualization software. You can refer to our documentation for specific instructions for other software like Hyper-V and VirtualBox. On the initial installer screen, press Enter to begin the installation. Ensure that correct keyboard and time zone is selected. We then need to set the passphrase for Lux disk encryption. Please choose the strong password and make sure you remember it, as it is not retrievable in case it is lost. Next step, we need to configure the network parameters. To avoid the need to reconfigure all node agents with new parameters, we will replicate the network parameters we took note of from previously existing master server instance. I will also replicate the same hostname we took a note of. And once this is done, we can begin the installation. I will be fast forwarding through the actual installation to save time. Once the installation is complete, the machine will automatically restart. At this point, you will be prompted to enter the Lux passphrase that you set during the installation. I can now log in as a root user using the initial password and start the process of restoring the data from previous master server. First, we will stop the master server. Then, I will rename the new data store. We are now going to copy the backup file that we created from the previous data store from the shared location where we placed it to a temporary location in this machine. Once the file is copied, we run the recovery script to restore the data store. This process could take some time, depending on the size of your data store. After the restore process is complete, we need to give Enterprise Recon the ownership of the database folder. I can now remove the initial data store from the new instance. I will now rename the data store configuration file and copy the backed up configuration file from the shared location to this machine. Please make sure the file is copied to the correct location. I need to give Enterprise Recon ownership of the configuration file and change the permissions for the file. We can now start the master server. Before I log out, I will remove the initial configuration file that we substituted with the backed up one, as it is not required anymore. You can now open your web browser and enter the IP address of your master server. I will log in using the same credentials as for the previous instance. All RScan data and configuration is available, which confirms the successful migration. I will navigate to Server Information page to verify that I am running the latest version of Enterprise Recon. And with that, we have reached the end of this tutorial. For more information, please refer to the Enterprise Recon documentation. If you require any assistance or have further questions, please reach out to our support team. We will be happy to help. Thank you for watching.